So now we're going to knock in the seal that eliminates the oil there. Same again, you guys can use whatever you like. For this one we might use the back of the socket again. Make sure that it's pretty close. A bit of oil. Put him in position there. We'll use the back of our socket again. I'm very happy with that. I know these won't come out, they just won't. But if you are concerned about it, we can put a little bit of Loctite glue around it. Actually, let's do it just so we can show you. So I'll have to get this bit of oil off it, because we don't want oil on there for the glue. So we got that off, and that looks pretty good, doesn't it? So let's grab a bit of 406 Loctite, and you don't want much, just a little bit, and you see it wick its way around. There it goes. Alright, so now we know it's not going to come off. Even though I knew it wasn't going to come off, we now know it's not going to come off, if you know what I mean. Right, well, we're really getting on top of this, aren't we? I must admit, I don't think I've ever had a build that's taken as long as this. I really don't. It's because of the stopping and starting for the video. It really does take a long time. Takes a lot of speed out of your build. Okay. I'm just putting in this locator pin for the clutch. When you do that, you just sort of make sure that it's where it needs to be. And check your specs for your own model bike. There we have it. Righto, so walking away. Yeah, nice. I know we're probably going to go backwards a little bit by mentioning this, but because I started the video, you know, not at the very start of the build of this engine, when you bring your two cases together, and you've got your bearings in it and you bring your two cases together, sometimes you'll notice the crank's a little bit stiff, and that's normal. So what you do then is you get your dead blow and you go bang, 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 not heavy blows, just feel it, and all of a sudden you might feel it, it'll get to a spot where it's real nice and loose and it's feeling really good, and you know then the crank is centered in the bearings and they're all seated in, they're all comfy. And so, yeah, so it's very rare actually that you'll get them together without actually having to do that. So, oh geez, starting to get into a bit of weight here now. Alright, locating dowels. I'm not as strong. This one looks like someone's had a crack at it before. she goes. That's the sound we like to hear. Right on the back. Yep. Tapped in nicely. Alright, so that little locating dowel, I took it out. Here's a trick for you guys. Before you throw that locating dowel out and go and buy a new one, or grab one out of your kit like I was about to, you grab a drill, your locating dowel, something very close to the size, and you wedge it on. Start off with a slightly smaller drill, tap, 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 till you get to the point where you've got the exact size drill. And you can tell that while you put them in an undamaged locating dowel. And then once you've done that, you roll it round until it sort of looks like it's uniformed again, and voila, a reformed locating dowel. And hopefully it'll go in. Oh, would you look at that? I just saved myself about $2, if that. Anyway, if you don't have a locating dowel kit, or you need to move on without changing that dowel if you've damaged it, that's a little trick for you there anyway. Oh, and another, I'll tell you what, that reminds me as well, while we're talking about little tricks, if you've ever got a locating dowel which just won't come out because it's just been an absolute bastard, and you know you go to grab them, actually, grab a set of pliers on your locating dowel. Where is it? Let's get it around here so you can see it. You go marking, bang, and you deform it. Before you deform it, find the right size drill, put it down the inside of it, and then when you go to squeeze on it, you're squeezing against the right size drill, and you won't deform it. See what I mean? So that's a little trick. The old drill bit for getting them out and for reshaping them. Giving away all my bloody tricks here. I won't have a bit sooner rather than later. Alright, so got our dowels on, and we're going to put a new gasket on and put the side cover on. Yeah, bit of back attacker. Thunderstruck. Okay, so when you're putting clutch cover gaskets and stuff like that on, it's always good to not go real heavy-handed until you've got them all in and you know where you're at. Because we don't want to damage that gasket. Most clutch cover gaskets are expensive if you go OEM. So I always just sort of get them all sort of half nipped up first. Even to the point where don't do them up that tight until you sort of got everything going right and you're towards the end of the build. I do that. If you don't have a good memory, you can sort of forget that and you can have those battle out and leak oil and blah blah blah. That's fine, but like I said to you, I like to leave mine just sort of just half finger tight until I've got oil in there, and in case I've got to pull the cover off, I always have a little note hanging off the side, tighten bolts. That's my own personal thing. You guys can do whatever you want. I've never ever had a time where I've actually forgotten to do that. Thank goodness. Oh, just gonna need this fella, I think. Yeah, so choose that one. Just give him a bit of a nip there. Sometimes some bikes can be a little bit hard to get the oil up after you've had the pump out. Actually, I'll give you a classic example, XR600. Sometimes when you've had those things apart they're a real bastard to get them primed. And I always, this is just like a little light, this is just a little light nipper. Yeah, so they're a bastard sometimes to get primed, and I never start one of those until I've got oil up to the top, and I know that that's going to be all good. So this is just a little nip, nothing major. Alright, we're getting there. Alright, so we got the bottom end done. Got a new filter in there. Whenever you do a rebuild, always buy yourself a couple of filters, because you're going to be using those things sooner rather than later. First one always goes dirty pretty quick, and you want to change that within 500-600 Ks. So one thing I'll share with you guys. Hang on, I'll just turn this Akadaka down. How good's Akadaka? AC, DC. Yeah. Right, so whenever you've had a cylinder freshly bored out, sometimes the 2 strokes, but a lot of the time with 4 strokes, you'll find that on the bottom of the cylinder there's always a taper. What that taper does, when you're pushing the cylinder over the piston rings, it helps compress the rings so they go into the cylinder real nice. I've noticed on a lot of large overbores, like if you go and say a mil over straight off the bat, or in the, like say in the circumstances of this, which is a hell of a lot bigger than standard, there's not a lot of taper there. And in actual fact, it feels a little bit sort of sharp. There's a little bit there. This is something you do. You get a porting tool or a Dremel. Even if you haven't got that, you can get some sort of a mandrel in your drill, and on a nice little angle just run around it like this. Of course I'm wearing safety glasses and safety gear and all that other shit. I'm not actually touching the inside of the cylinder where the piston runs. I'm actually just on this little I'm kind of tapering it a little bit and smoothing it. You don't have to, go a lot, but I can feel right now. That's beautiful. Those rings are going to glide over that. Taper. Okay, so let's have a little look at that. I don't know if you're going to be able to pick that up or not, but it just feels nice now. It's nice and smooth, so I know when we push that over the rings, it's going to be fine. A little bit of a one at the top here, but I'm not going to do that. We need to keep that as a square edge. So I'm just going to give that a quick little wipe with some wet and dry. Just got a little bit of, feels like about a 400 or something like that. Just a little bit, not much, because damn, that's sharp. It'll go straight through your fingers. There you go. See, like it's not much, but it's just enough. Yeah, beautiful. All right, now cleanliness is next to godliness when we're doing this. I mean, the whole build is, you know that. But this part, this is the main part of the engine room here. So if we don't get that clean, a good way to tell whether your liner or your cylinder is clean, if it's a steel bore, if you've got this thing absolutely spotless and you've scrubbed all the old oils and grunge and grime out of it, if you wash it with warm water, within about 10 or 15 minutes after you've washed it, you'll start to see a little bit of discoloration, rusty discoloration in your cylinder. Then you know you're clean, because you know that there's no oil and junk and stuff in there. So that's kind of like a little bit of a bit of a trick there. So I'm going to go and wash this up, and we're going to prep to build this bottom end, eh? Let's get it done. Okay, it's time to put the pellet in. Here's a comparison between stock and 325. There they are. A bit shorter in skirt length. Definitely a lot bigger in diameter. Alright, so that's the old original one. Let's file that. Now, another little trick. 4 strokes. When you're putting the your clips in, you need to. It's always. I mean, there's a forward and there's a back in everything. So this is the forward-facing side here. I see so many people that try and if they put their circlip in there, the first one, they get it in, then they try and feed their pin in from this side, and then they're trying to get that last clip in, coming past all the cam chain tensioner and the cam chain and the open part of the motor there. If you can, avoid that. Put your clip in there first, and come from this side of the motor, where you can just come straight through the side, put your little rag there like that, bang, clip it in, it's done. It's easy. That's the way I always do it if you can. So it's just a little trick there if you can keep that in mind. By the way, on the 325 Thumper Racing Kit, on the CP pistons, there's no arrow facing which side is the front of your motor. And that's fine, that's no worries, a lot of them don't. But the way to tell is you've got a relief just there for your valves. And you look at that and you go, hang on a sec, this relief is a lot wider than this relief. Let's have a look at the head. And you go, well, the exhaust valves here aren't as wide as what the inlet valves are. So therefore that larger relief must be the inlet side, and the smaller side is the exhaust. So together it sort of goes like that. Yep, there you go. Okay, so on the Thumper Racing Kit for the 325, in the circlips, this little, I guess you'd call it a return section, just here, like a little ear. I don't like those. I've seen those fatigue and come off. I'm actually going to cut that off and just bevel the edges so it's not sharp and pissed, and I'm going to run without them. And Thumper Racing, if you're watching, it's fine. I know you may say avoid the warranty or whatever, but your products are made as I know they are. We're not going to have any issues anyway. So that's a personal thing that I like to do, and I don't just do it on motorbikes. I do it on chainsaws and other things I come across. I just don't like those little ears hanging off there like that. It's just, I think it leads to failures. Can do. Alright, so there's the clip in without this little shoulder. And then we're ready to, and I put a little dot there just facing forward, just so in my build I don't get confused. Not that you would, but you never know, that just wipes off. Yeah, so now we're right to come from this side of the motor.